Hi, and welcome back to the Rubber Duck Recruiter. This is Tim Wilkins, and today we're going to talk about the 5 preparation tips that I'm giving myself as I prepare for my interview with Facebook. Preparation tip number 1, I'm getting my story straight. So when you step into an interview with an interviewer, they're going to say, tell me about yourself. Right here, it's a make it or break it moment, because you might go into a lot of arbitrary details if you don't have a good grip of who you are and where you're going in your career. So it's important before you get to the interview to basically answer 3 questions. Where was I? How did I get where I am now? And where do I want to go? For example, I'll just give you a quick bullet point response of what I might say tomorrow. I was a musician and I wanted to get a grown man job, so I went into a coding boot camp. I realized that I like technology, but that the deep need to connect with folks was not being met for me, so I went into recruitment. I've spent the last 2.5 years being in recruitment, and I've found that I have a specific expertise because of my previous experience with technology and my understanding of it. And now where I'd like to go is I'd like to really start to focus on metrics and have recruiting be less of an art for me and more of a science. So that's a good, compelling narrative that I'll be able to say during tomorrow's interview that will give them an idea of who I am and why I'm a good fit for their job. Preparation tip number 2, explore who you're speaking with before you speak to them. For example, tomorrow I'm going to be speaking with a gentleman. I'm not going to mention his name, but I have access to his LinkedIn profile. I've seen his Facebook. I've seen blogs that he's written, and because of all this, I get to use my, detective personality to dive deeper into who this person might be and what they might value in a team member. And from that, I've learned that this person is pretty funny. They value comedy. I've seen that they like to listen to Taylor Swift, so they like pop music. I've seen that they hike and they like going outdoors, and that's something that we also have in common. And I've also seen that if you look at their career trajectory on LinkedIn, that they've stayed at companies usually for over 2 years, which shows that they're able to commit and serious about this career. So that leads me to believe that they're probably going to be interested in where recruiting is going as an industry as well, since they've stuck with it for 7 years. At the end of the day, you're speaking to an individual, and you want to kind of assess what their values might be and be able to line up your values with theirs, assuming that there's a congruency. Because anybody that you talk to, you're going to have common humanity. It's just very beneficial to find that in advance and be able to tailor the frame of the conversation toward things that you might have in common. So do yourself a favor. Explore who you might be talking with before the interview. Preparation tip number 3, orient yourself with the proper mindsets. So some of the mindsets that I have is, how can I help? Is the emotional, I guess you could say, state that I want to be in. Another mindset is that I am already a great recruiter, but there's always more to learn and I'm eager to learn it. Another one is that I want to treat the interviewer not as somebody that is holding the keys to a position, but as an end in and of themselves. So that means that I'm just going to be speaking to another person, and it doesn't matter where the conversation goes. It just matters that I'm honest with this person, that I'm engaged, that I'm actively listening, and that I'm trying to figure out how I can partner with them. Another mindset is that it's always wonderful to speak to somebody who is accomplished and knows things that you might not know, that you can learn from. That's just a privilege to learn from people. So that's another great mindset. And the final mindset that I like to bring with me into an interview is there's always a plan B to this job. I don't have to get this job. There's so many things that I can do in my life. There's a multiplicity of opportunity on the landscape for me. I don't know what it is yet, but I trust that it will be there. So I'm not putting all my eggs in this basket, and that allows me to be free during the interview to really connect with and explore what the opportunity is, rather than try and say whatever I can to, get the job. Preparation tip number 4, make sure that you get excited about the role beforehand. So a lot of the motivational systems that human beings have that give them that sense of meaning in their life comes from having this idea of who you could be and then watching yourself move toward that person. If you're very vague on who you'd like to be or how this job could facilitate you becoming a greater version of yourself, then you're going to bring this confused energy to the interview. So it's worth it for you to sit down and describe how this job could fit into that narrative. and describe how this job could be a very exciting next step for you. And when you bring that to your interview, that will translate, because most of the things that you're going to be saying in the interview aren't going to be coming out of your mouth. They're going to be coming in out of your body language and how you are actually connecting with the person in front of you. So remember that 90% of what you're going to be saying to somebody is really just you emotionally communicating with them, and it's much less so about the exact words that you say. Preparation tip number 5, and this one's a little bit more, I guess, philosophical, but feel what it's like to not get this job. Yes, I would love to work at Facebook. It would be life-changing. I would get paid a lot and I'd have it on my resume and, hooray for me. But I also know that I might not get the job, and that's okay too. If I get the job, that will come with its own problems, and I'll have to solve them, and it's not going to be any cakewalk. And if I don't get the job, well, that's going to be its own problem, and I'll solve that too. But I'm not going to be attached to either of those outcomes, and that's the best way to be in your interview. Feel what it's genuinely like to not get the job, and decide that you can handle it, and decide that you'll be okay. And that will help you be fully present in the interview itself. Hopefully these tips were helpful to you. This is how I'm preparing for my interview tomorrow. I'll be sure to post and let you know if I got it or not. And there's a link in the description to a site where I post all my wacky stuff from my life. This one's focused on recruitment, but I also do music, and I have a psychology channel, and I like making little random flow charts, and occasionally I ride my moped around. So thanks for watching The Rubber Duck Recruiter, and you have a great day.